All right, guys, we are going to get started with the topic of menopause and all its gifts. And as I see a woman sitting there fanning herself, let's just say there's an electronic one right there. Turn it on, and you're welcome.
Yes, a battery-operated one.
We're going to get started with a great panel of experts. You will recognize Dr. Somi. She was on our panel of how to stay healthy, and she's going to be talking about menopause. Bridget, you want to do the introduction?
Sure, and I also want to thank Womaness because they are sponsoring this panel, and so you're going to hear about Womaness and their great products and everything.
There's a little gift in your bag.
There's a little gift in your bag from them. So I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, Dr. Elizabeth Houshmand. Is that correct? Yes. And Dr. Houshmand, I had the pleasure of meeting yesterday. I was so excited. And she is a double board certified dermatologist specializing in cutaneous laser surgery and dermatological
Thank
you.
That's why I'm your partner.
Of patients with special interest in cosmetic dermatology, laser medicine, acne, hair loss, everything like that.
All the things.
All the things, yes. And then someone that we met a while ago.
Years ago.
Yes, Sally Mueller, and she's been a guest on our podcast. We have gone to different things that you had. The first time I ever went to the Graduate Hotel was at one of Womaness's events. Mm-hmm. She's the co-founder and CEO of Womaness. So she and her partner, Michelle Jacobs, created Womaness, and it's modernizing aging for women. So we're going to find out all about Womaness and their products and just how that starts and everything about
And really
menopause.
that is a line that is so needed that you go to Target and find. How many times do we say to the doctors, there's nothing for us? Like you go from diapers to Depends, and there's nothing in between.
And there's a lot that should be in between.
And we want to see ourselves on those shelves. So Womaness is a brand that is very easy to find. We're going to talk about that full line of products, including vibrators, because yes, we're going to be talking about the Sahara Desert. Just get ready. It's going to be on. So, speaking of that, Dr. Somi gets to start. But I'll start simple for that. There are a lot of women who hear the term menopause, and they don't even know what that means. They don't know what Bridget, before we started this podcast...
I did, when I was in peri, I didn't know what peri meant.
Right, what peri meant,
so
and
I
post.
did know before we started the podcast, after it all happened to me. So
if we could just get started, could you explain what menopause is, what perimenopause and post?
Absolutely. So menopause is 12 consecutive months without any bleeding. It has documented 34 symptoms from head to toe, so hot flashes, vaginal dryness, insomnia, joint pain, dry skin, problems finding your words, anxiety, depression. I mean, it really impacts us from head to toe. The average age in the United States is 51. Perimenopause is its evil twin sister, and so can have everything the same, all the same symptoms, because people are like, oh my God, this is just peri. What's going to happen to me when I actually go into menopause? Probably the same thing, but the only difference is in perimenopause, you are still having some degree of bleeding. It may not be regular, it may not be like clockwork, so they are very, very similar. And like I said, perimenopause can precede menopause by up to 10 years. So yes, it can start in your 30s for some people. Post-menopause, people get so excited because they're like, I'm done. No, it doesn't mean you're done. Doesn't mean you're not symptomatic. We know that some women can be symptomatic without treatment for up to 20 years. We, as doctors, use menopause and post-menopause very interchangeably. When we have a woman who presents with bleeding in the menopausal period, we want to make sure it is not a fibroid polyp, God forbid, a gynecologic cancer. So we make a very big distinction between perimenopausal bleeding and post-menopausal bleeding. So those are the definitions. Oh, I'm sorry. Bad timing.
She caught her
Sorry about that.
chapstick.
Thank you. And, for a lot of women, they say, oh, I'm in menopause, and they don't realize that menopause is one single, really, day of 12 months, no period, it's an anniversary, and then you go to post. And that doesn't mean that your symptoms are done. And what about, Bridget was going to ask a question to Dr. Houshmand about skin.
Yes. So we just talked with Mindy and Melissa about, the anti-aging thing, and we're all inundated with anti-aging, which is really silly. We all, like Mindy and Melissa both said, you can't stop aging. We're doing it. We're all doing it right now. And so what ingredients, we hear all this, we see all the skin products. We have some fabulous skin product people here today. And what is something that is really not good, and what is something that we should look for when we're just really wanting to just take care of our skin? It's not necessarily trying to reverse the clock or anything, but just kind of to take care. What are great ingredients to have?
So I want to share a little bit about my background. So I did 3 years of internal medicine residency, always knowing that I wanted to be a dermatologist, but your skin is your largest organ. I can tell your health and wellness based on looking on your skin. And so when I look and treat my patients, not a single patient ever comes into me saying, oh, I want to look 10 years younger. They all say, I just want to feel better. I want to feel healthy. They want to be the best version of themselves. And I have never said, and I hate that word, that's a marketing ploy. If any physician says, oh, I'm going to make you 10 to 15 younger, run the other way. I never have that conversation. Why? Health and beauty depends on so many things. Your genetics is number one. Whether you like it or not, you look like mom and dad, you're going to age like mom and dad. I like to see pictures of you over time. Why? I'm looking at you as a physician with my eyes, and then there's an art to beauty. There really is. And I always say to patients, you have to find someone that shares your aesthetic ideals. What do I mean by that? I have a certain aesthetic that I like. You and I have to match, and I may not be a good match for you, and that is okay. And I share what my ideas are. Over time, you lose bone, by the way. This is not just during menopause. Over time, slowly and surely, you lose your bone, your ligaments elongate. That's what causes these folds. So I'm not chasing imperfections when I see someone. I'm looking at you globally. I'm looking at your scalp, I'm looking at your skin, I'm looking at your body. I'm kind of scanning you. So when you say, what are products? It is such an intimidating thing when you go into, have y'all gone into a Sephora or an Ulta? I'm a dermatologist. This is my field. This is what gives me joy, is to figure out products and learn new things and the science. So how do I pick products? I'm going to tell you how I do it. 3 things that I look for. The actual ingredients in the product. I look at every ingredient to see what's in there. Number 2, is there actual evidence-based research with the ingredients all together? You have to be very smart and savvy. When I'm investigating things, sometimes in studies, and by the way, to get the FDA to approve something, to say it does what it does, is years of trials and evidence-based research before it can get that FDA approval. So you look at that, and then let's be real. Does it work in the real world? Would I give it to my mom? Would I want to use it? So I test out everything. And if I partner with a brand or if I partner with a skincare company, guess what? It has to work because that's my name. That's my reputation. I've done 2 residencies, 2 fellowships. I'm not going to tell you something works if it doesn't. So you have to align yourself. I think in the US versus overseas, dermatology has to be accessible. What do I mean by that? Dermatology shouldn't be a luxury. It's skin health and wellness. You go see your cardiologist. You should be going to see your gynecologist. You should have a dermatologist. Why? You need a full body skin exam at least once a year. I don't care the color of your skin. I care that you could have a skin cancer and you should be evaluated. Yes, we do all these other fun things like fillers and lasers and all those things, but your skin is your health, and if you look at it that way, we pick products for you. You don't need, I love social media, but hate social media because It's good and bad. Dr. Google, I disagree. So everyone has a degree from Dr. Google. And I know who you are, because when you come to my clinic, you're like, but I read, and I said, where'd you read it? Dr. Google. So my staff has a mug for me that says, my MD is better than your Dr. Google degree. And I have it like on my desk on purpose. And it's so true though, but I get it. You're trying to educate yourself, you're trying to learn, and I don't see anything wrong with that. My best patient is a well-informed patient. Come ask tons of questions. Come in and let's have a discussion, because it shouldn't be a one-way street. We're having a dialogue. This is about your care. And so there are a lot of products out there. Less is more. You don't need a 12-step routine. I use about 3 things and maybe 3. I'm not a good patient, by the way. If you ask, I'm not good at following instructions, doing anything. So if you ask me to do something complex, I just won't do it, and I'll tell you that I won't do it. So you need a basic cleanser that's targeted for your skin type. Number 2, what's your issue? Do you have dry skin? Do you have rosacea? Do you have eczema? And by the way, acne doesn't end when you're a teenager. I still break out, but you have to be sort of understanding of that. So you have to pick and target products. Do you have dark spots? For you, not for your friend, not for what worked for your neighbor down the street, because there's so much skincare out there. And I will touch on some of the ingredients in your next question.
Okay.
Okay, great. Now, Sally, who is co-founder of Womaness, is a line of products for menopausal women. And, I kind of question whether I should put you on the Boss Ladies panel or this panel, because you really could speak on a lot of them, actually. But you found an area that a lot of us struggle with, which is finding products that address our needs, and said, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. Can you talk about the way products are changing now, how Womaness came to be, and why it's so important to find products like this in Target and online and things like that?
Yeah. Is that working? Is she
Okay. I'll just speak into the microphone a little closer. Womaness really came about because of my own personal experience going through menopause. And much like you, I didn't realize menopause was more than hot flashes. I thought it was just hot flashes. So, and I didn't really suffer from hot flashes, but it wasn't until my skin changed, vaginal dryness, libido, sleep issues, all these issues kicked in. And the kicker for me was at a doctor's appointment, the doctor gave me a list of products to buy on Amazon. And when I looked at that list of products, I thought, oh my gosh, I've been spending my whole career building brands for women, and I had just created a skincare brand. Why am I not creating a whole line of menopause products? It was just this moment of, we deserve better. And we need to have clean ingredients. We need to, have language that doesn't speak to anti-aging. We need to have a brand that educates you, that has a community. So that was really the impetus behind the whole brand that Michelle and I created. But it was such a wasteland of products out there. This is like 5 years ago. And there weren't clean formulations that were made with really, really high quality ingredients. And it seemed like all the new innovation was happening for millennials. So again, we deserve better.
Yes, we do. And you can go literally, they have everything. They have lubricant, they have face cream, they have a thing called Let's Neck, which is really cute. It's a little roller.
Yeah.
Under eye.
I'm on subscription to that. Yeah, I am. And the eye, and I have to say that the out damn spot thing, I had a big sunspot on my arm, and I used that, and it is gone. It is gone.
It's a patch.
It's a patch, yes. So I put it on my big, it's not there anymore, but it used to be right here. It's not there anymore. But yeah, it's a great product. Can you share where it's sold? I know they have a website, because I'm on
Yes, Womaness.com, Amazon, and Ulta Beauty. Ulta Beauty's been our best partner. They have just rolled us out to another 500 stores, so we're in almost all Ulta Beauty stores. think there's like 1,350 and we're in 1,300. So they've been just really, really incredibly supportive. And I think that's been another learning is the retailers are so behind really catering to our needs. There isn't a section in a lot of retailers that are for women's health. You talked about, Colleen, walking through the Depends aisle or the diaper aisle, and it is truly like menopause. If it is in the store, it's relegated to the bottom shelf, and it's just so disappointing. So we've really embraced Ulta Beauty, and they've embraced us because they really believe in celebrating this older woman, and they know that this older woman, or all of us are going into Ulta Beauty with our daughters or nieces and shopping, and it's a cross-generational experience. So kudos to them for really getting behind us.
And it's so important that we see ourselves on these shelves,
Right.
you know what I mean? You can't always get to a doctor, and maybe your doctor appointment is in 3 weeks, and there's something over the counter that might actually be helpful. So it's wonderful to see those brands. Somi, let's talk hormones, okay? Because there has been so much information, and we all know that there has been bad information, good information about hormones. For women who want to talk to their doctor about, should I be taking hormones, what are the important questions that they should be asking?
So I just got back from Menopause Society, formerly known as NAMS, and the really, really exciting thing is for the first time in 20 years, I'm actually seeing my colleagues excited about hormones again and wanting to learn and prescribe again. So, you all read that New York Times article. We have done such a bad job as providers and the press and society about not dispelling the myths about hormones. Are they for everybody? No. But they are a lot safer than what was shared with everybody. The study was not designed ideally. It didn't look at transdermal estrogens, which are what we prefer, meaning through the skin. And it included women 70 to 79. And that's not the target audience that we normally treat with hormones. And so now, the party line is hormone therapy, when appropriate, is a great thing, not only for all of the symptoms of menopause that we feel, insomnia, cognitive decline, but the invisible symptoms too, right? There's no other drug. There are other drugs that are available, but that has the efficacy to protect your bone, to protect brain, to protect your heart. And so you see data really coming out, and the problem with the WHI study was that a press conference was called, right? And they said, we're stopping this study. The study was designed looking at, let's look at the cardiovascular benefit of estrogens and estrogen and progesterone. Well, it was only one arm that was causing a problem, and it was a very small problem. If you actually looked at the women on estrogen, they had a 30% decreased risk of breast cancer. They had a 30% decreased risk of overall mortality, and the women that got breast cancer in that arm were less likely to die from their cancer. And no one ever called a press conference to talk about all the great data we have learned since 2002 about your brain, about your heart, about everything else that hormones can help with. And so really there's now a movement to not only educate our patients, but to educate ourselves about hormone therapy. So that was really, really exciting. And then there was a lot of talk about cancer and whether or not patients who've had cancers can be on hormone therapy. And, I talked about mutual decision making. And yes, data is showing for certain patients, even if you've had cancers, depending on genetic testing, everything, there's a potential to get on hormone. So even the patient populations where we thought it's absolutely forbidden, it's not true. NAMS put out a consensus statement about testosterone therapy, the forgotten hormone for women that helps with all of the domains of sexuality, libido, orgasm, desire, moisture, satisfaction. And so there was a lot of exciting outcomes and innovation. We talked about radiofrequency and microneedling in the vagina. not to make people have a younger vagina, but as an intervention for genitourinary syndrome of menopause. So the dryness, the pain, having to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. I was also racing to the bathroom. But, all those collective vaginal and bladder symptoms, and we got to present our data. And I'll tell you, 10 years ago, they would not have wanted me to present such modern, forward-thinking data. They would have been like, no. And we had 90 to 95% outcomes. So a lot of exciting things happening in the hormone space.
And the fact that it's getting out, the information is being sent out, because a lot of women say they're practitioners. We're simply not educated on menopause. And if I hear the word just, it's just menopause. If you're at a doctor's office and they say to you, it's just perimenopause, find another doctor. It's not just.
If they're not offering you any options.
Yeah, it's affecting your life. If it's affecting your ability to function through the day. I mean, Bridget was having like 10 hot flashes a day.
And I'm looking at those two that didn't have any, those two sisters of mine. But one of my sisters did, and really badly, and then I really was. And I went to a gynecologist, this was probably, 8 or 9 years ago, and would not put me on hormones. First of all, didn't believe that I was peri, because I think I was like 11 months out, and then would not do it, would not at all consider it, put me on Effexor, and it didn't help. It didn't help at all, and they were very hesitant to put me on hormones. Finally, I found a different doctor that did, and it worked wonders for me. I know it's not for everybody, but it was almost an immediate stop, and it was, yes.
I mean, there's 26 options for men for sexual dysfunction. 26 FDA-approved options, and Viagra was honestly emergency use authorized in 6 months. So erectile dysfunction was a national emergency. I'm dead serious. It was 6 months, guys. The first ever female sexual health drug, took 6 years. We never think twice about asking a man about quality of life. But for women, when I went to the FDA, they're like, well, is this low libido going to kill them? I'm like, well, maybe they're going to lose their relationship. Lack of treating menopausal symptoms is costing the U.S. economy right now $1.8 billion because of lost work. 900,000 women in the UK left the workforce. Like they were talking about, we're in the prime of our lives. I'm 48, I ain't going anywhere right now. So I don't want to not be able to be treated and not have my relationship, not be able to work, not be productive because someone's not diagnosing me. Now, that being said, hormones are not for everybody, maybe because of a medical problem or maybe choice. Maybe you're like, you know what? My mom had it, she got breast cancer, I really don't want it. There are a multitude of options, over-the-counter, prescription, non-hormonal, vibrators. We talked about vibrators at...
We tried to get one of those for the gift bags, but it didn't work out.
I know, we sell a vibrator.
But you do have arousal serum in there, just in case.
And there's FDA-approved medications for low sex drive for women. There's digital therapeutics. There's 2 apps where you can either listen to erotica or read erotica, and it's evidence-based and can help you with your sexuality. So even if you're like, I don't want hormone, or maybe I don't want those 2 medications, Addyi and Vyleesi, because people always ask me later. Non-hormonal, okay for patients who've had cancer, okay for patients who are in menopause. I know you guys are going to look it up and say, it says it's not indicated. So the difference between indicated and contraindicated just means the FDA didn't slap the label on it because you have to pay for yet another study. But it's okay. We have tons and tons of data in those patient populations on these medications. So you can have a sex drive, you don't have to live with dryness, and you don't have to pee on yourself.
Yeah. Can you share?
Good to know.
Yeah, I'm curious about the findings on testosterone, because that's been a tough... I went to HerMD, and I was prescribed testosterone, although I do have to get it at a compounding pharmacy. So can you share what's going on right now with that?
Yes. So there is only one country in the world right now that has a testosterone product for women. It's Australia, so they're a little bit ahead of us. But even though there is a global consensus statement supporting testosterone's use, all of us, if we go to LabCorp, Quest, major laboratory, I'm not talking about you buy something that, we all have a testosterone level. We do. And testosterone has been proven to support all of those domains of sexuality that I'm talking about. So your sex drive, your orgasm, everything. And yet in the United States, we do not have a testosterone-only, FDA-approved treatment option for women. So how do you get testosterone? You can use male formulations. We can compound it for you, or you can use pellets. The problem is a lot of people who shouldn't have been prescribing it were. And there are amazing side effects from testosterone for sex life. But then you don't want to grow a goatee and have to go to you and go get laser hair removal. I mean, that is not the goal, okay?
I'm actually anti-pellet because in Dallas, on every corner, there's a tea clinic.
Yep.
And who's running the tea clinic is a provider, not a board-certified endocrinologist, not a board-certified anybody. And I'm seeing, so what am I seeing? Horrific steroid acne on the chest of women, temporal balding, male pattern balding.
Goatees.
I mean, hair,
Yep.
it is awful. And so, but to tell that person, remember, they're getting energy, they're getting all this other stuff, but to then wean them off is really challenging, but it's dangerous. You're putting people at risk.
It's dangerous when it's supra-physiologic. So fancy word for we know what levels and what ranges you need to be in. And that was the problem, that people were dabbling where they shouldn't have. And so that's why you need to go to a reliable provider who knows what they're doing, who will measure your levels and make sure you're not undertreated, but not over-treated. And so that is the goal with testosterone therapy. And we're hoping later this year, it's expected that there is going to be a testosterone patch going into clinical trials for women in this country.
Oh, that's good news.
That is really good.
We're going to be all patched up.
We are. I got my damn spot. I got my estrogen patch. I've got everything. Yeah.
Oh, and the reason I don't like the male formulations, they're expensive and they're very hard to titrate.
It's like 1/10,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Yes.
a tenth
It's like
of what
1/10.
men. It's like you've heard me talk before.
I think I heard that
I think we've had her
somewhere.
on twice. Yes.
So we talked about testosterone, but estrogen. As we start to lose estrogen in our skin and it starts to dry and we start to get dark patches, what can we do and how simple can it be? Like if you look at your counter and there's 10 different products, do you really need those?
No. So I'm so happy that you asked that question because it's simple. Your estrogen levels, as we know, are plummeting down. Your cortisol, which we don't like, is going really high. Cortisol, we know, is the stress hormone. Everyone in here experiences stress. So what can we do to battle that? There are things you can do topically. We all know about your diet, your overall wellness, exercise, and it does matter. What you put into your body really is going to impact your skin as well and your overall health. But it's very simple. So I like to look, again, when I'm looking for products, I told you the 3 things I'm looking for, but I also don't want products that don't have true science and backing. So when we are dermatology residents, when I was an internal medicine resident, I don't remember ever having a discussion about menopause at all. Remember, that's the whole body. You're supposed to graduate, and I'm boarded in medicine as well. When I did dermatology, there was some discussion. In 1992, Vichy, which is the brand that you guys are going to get to try, did one of the first studies specifically looking at skin changes with menopause. So not now, 1992, 30 years ago, and they have done with over 1,500 patients, they have 30 published studies. The most recent was in 2022, and in looking at it, they have a whole product line that is meant for peri and postmenopausal women. And remember, menopause, yes, the average age in the US is 51, but I hate that we label people by an age. Remember, someone may experience this in their 30s, and if they don't know that they're to expect that and what the symptoms are, what are the symptoms? Usually most people, dryness is number 1, but they say, Doc, my skin just doesn't look luminous. That luminosity has a medical reason. When you're you're younger, your skin cells turn over. The keratinocytes, which are that top layer, are not turning over as we age. So what do we do to make it turn over? Is your barrier. Your skin barrier, remember, your skin is protecting all your organs, and it's the largest organ. So what do? I try to optimize your skin barrier. What ingredients am I looking for? This product line has some of the key ingredients. Hyaluronic acid, which is critical. Why? Hyaluronic acid draws in moisture and water, hydrating your skin. You know that dewy, glowy look that everyone wants? Hyaluronic acid and lipids. Lipids are a good thing for the skin. There are different types of lipids. You want lipids that are non-comedogenic, that are not going to break you out and give you acne. So that's important. And antioxidants. There's a specific ingredient in this called cassia extract, which, again, done in formulation with something called proxylene, with Vichy's volcanic waters. If you travel in France, they're very lucky because they have these sources where they have these special waters with minerals. I use those since I've been about 18 years old, not specifically this one, but I have very dry, sensitive skin. So keeping my skin hydrated is key. You don't have to have eczema, you don't have to be in menopause. If you have dry skin, you need hydration. So this line has a serum. Serums are liquid-based, they're not a cream, so you can put that on for discoloration, the fine lines, the dryness, that itchy. And then there's creams. They have one for perimenopause specifically with different ingredients that's densifying, and then they have one that's replenishing for postmenopause. So they've really, and again, it's not like they've said, okay, we want to give you a product. No, they've done the research and the studies. They've looked at the collagen, the elastin fibers, taking punch biopsies. That's when we take a tool, take a sample of the skin that's been treated, and then they look at it under the microscope over time. So there's actually really good science behind it. And so that's simple. 2 steps. Now to wash your face, put your serum on and a cream as needed.
And the same goes for your vaginal health. Those same changes that you're describing are going on in the vagina.
Remember, the skin is from head to toe. That is mucosal tissue. So lips, vagina are all mucosal tissues. Skin is a different type of tissue, but all tissues.
So some women, when they think, oh, I'm on a patch, or I'm on a pill, or I'm on a spray, I don't need anything to treat my vagina. Those women still may need a vaginal estrogen or a DHEA. There's Intrarosa, which is available by prescription and usually covered by insurance, that helps with collagen, elastin, blood flow, dryness, sexual pain, and can even help support bladder health. So there are sometimes women who are like, I don't want full-blown systemic, like it going into the bloodstream hormone therapy, but we'll still put them on localized estrogen or localized hormone. The other problem in this country with the FDA is the package insert for full-blown hormone therapy and vaginal therapy is still the same, and it's incorrect. It shouldn't be, because you're not nearly absorbing the same amounts. And so it really scares you because you're going to treat your dry vagina, and then you're reading that you're going to get dementia, heart attack, and stroke. And it's just not true. And I was at the FDA once, and I was like, when is this labeling going to change? And they were like, not in your lifetime. And I was like, watch me. So, that's the truth. And so I tell my patients, I educate them, I give them the risk-benefit analysis, I tell them what they're going to read, and then I'm like, yes, you should read it, but please be aware that it is not accurate. It's not the same as full-blown hormone replacement therapy.
And I was going to go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that the Vichy products that she mentioned are in your gift bag.
Yes.
The Peri, the serum, and the post. So have fun with that and let us know. But yes, it's all in there. Go ahead, Patricia.
Right. I was just going to say, Sally, so Womaness has products as well. Yes. So can you share some of the products as well that can treat your vagina?
Yeah, we carry supplements. One is called Menopause, which is an all-around, menopause powerhouse supplement for hot flashes, night sweats, and brain fog. Some of the symptoms you mentioned, Somi. And we've used a clinically proven ingredient called pycnogenol, which is at a very high dose so that we can reference the clinical studies. And it's been known to really lessen hot flashes. So if you've had breast cancer or cancer in your family and you're looking for something safe and over-the-counter, that's a great option. We also have Let Me Sleep for sleep, which has a time to release melatonin. We have Active Glow for hair, skin, and nail and joint. And all of them have clinically proven ingredients. And then, much like Elizabeth said, our skincare is very streamlined. So we have 8 skincare products. We have and all of them use an advanced form of hyaluronic acid called Hyaclear 7. I know I sound like an ad, but they're really built for extra hydration and protection. So again, it's very streamlined because you don't need that many products. You need a great cleanser, which we have, and a great serum, as Elizabeth said, and a moisturizer. And then we have 3 sexual wellness products. I should have gifted all of you a vibrator.
Yes, you should have.
So note
They
2,
look like lipsticks, by the way.
yeah,
you
they
don't
look
have
like
to be
little
embarrassed.
lipsticks, but next year we'll definitely give our vibrator
You
out.
heard that.
And then we have 2 vaginal moisturizers because, as Somi said, your skin dries dramatically, not just your facial skin, but your all over body skin. And we have one that's coconut-based called Cocoa Bliss, and then we have one that's water-based called Daily Be Soothe. So everything is affordable. Our whole line is under $46, and that was really important to us, is to make sure that we're really reaching as many women as possible.
And you are. You're educating. It's not just the products. If you go to the website, there's a community. Like we said throughout this event, it's about community. It's about conversation. You can ask your questions. And in the very beginning, Sally would have answered on the questions and answers, but now you're too busy to do that. So you have a team. Remember in the very beginning, you had
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
You were
that
on the,
little
you know,
after
they have a
party.
little
here.
The
question
after
I have
party.
a whole team, and a few in Nashville.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to ask, could I ask Dr.
I just wanted to
Houshmand-
make sure we could ask a couple questions.
Oh, I wanted to ask Dr. Houshmand about hair loss.
I'm so happy you asked
Because
that.
I was
You
like,
made
I've
my
heard
day.
from so many people about hair loss, and so could you talk about hair loss at this time?
It is with pleasure that I speak about hair loss. If you know me, it is one of my favorite things to treat, and I really love it. Why? When you come in, and male or female, but especially for females, when you have your hair that's thinning and you're balding, your part is getting wider. I call it the ponytail test. Instead of 2 loops, you're at 5 loops. That means the hair is thinning, and you see tons of hairs in your shower drain, in your comb. It affects your self-esteem, how you present at work, in your personal life. It's a challenge, and hair loss can be from so many things. Think of it as, from a woman's perspective. You get your period. You may have babies, you may not. You may be taking some form of oral contraceptive pill. Then you get into the workforce. You lead a stressful life. You're starving because you're on some sort of diet. You're on a protein diet, high fat, low fat. It's a constant fluctuation over time. And so as a female, and one who really, beautiful hair is important. So what can we do? Get in early. So I set up during COVID a whole telehealth platform to allow access to people to have a consult to talk about these things. Because you're right, it's hard to get into a dermatologist. You're booked out, but you can do telehealth. You can send me where your zip code is. I can tell you who I would go to, because not everyone that is a dermatologist wants to do hair loss. I'll be honest with you, we can do from pediatric to geriatric. Some people do surgeries only. Just like any other specialty, people have their areas that they like. Hair loss is very complex. Why? Your hair is not essential. What do I mean by that? Your body allocates its nutrients, its hormones to things that are essential. Hair technically is not. So if your body is so stressed and those cortisols level, guess what's going first? Your hair. So what do? I do a thorough panel of blood work. I do a full evaluation of your scalp, your symptoms, how long it's been going on, your medication history, your surgical history, because you can have different things. The most common thing that I'm seeing are 2. Androgenetic alopecia, which happens with normal aging. Number 2 is something called telogen effluvium. With COVID, with stress, with a move, with a new job, with a surgery, the hair sheds. It's pretty frightening. The good news is the hair usually comes back. It lasts up to 6 months. So what can you do? See someone early, get your blood work done. Most women are deficient, including myself, in vitamin D3, zinc, selenium, there's different, iron is another big one, by the way. And so you want to make sure that you fix that first. There may be a physiologic reason for your hair loss. Number 2, don't be scared to wash your hair. And you're going to look at me like, why is she saying that? There are all these things on social media about scalp training. You cannot train a scalp. You need to wash your scalp. This is dead. What's healthy is this. Your scalp health is critical. You have to have a good environment for the hair follicles to be able to grow. So wash your hair. Don't be afraid of washing it. It's normal to lose about 50 to 100 hairs per day. Vitamins, the one that I would stay away from, which I think has the best publicist on the earth, is biotin. I don't know how biotin got such a great reputation. It doesn't do anything for your hair. Stop taking biotin. It can actually be bad for your laboratories. If you have thyroid disease, when you go to get your labs done, that can alter it. If you are a female, and as you said with your mom, that can alter your cardiac enzymes. So if you, God forbid, have a heart attack as a woman and you go in to get your labs drawn, the biotin is going to cause an alteration. So what would I take are the ones that I mentioned. I do think there are some good supplements over the counter. I love something called PRP, platelet-rich plasma. We have a lot of good research that's evidence-based to back that. I'm a big fan of that, and it works. It clinically works. So don't give up. If someone tells you, oh, just go take some biotin, it's okay, it's normal, it's not normal, and we can help. There are many things we can do to help you. Don't give up. Now, I will be honest. One of the things I tell people is I will never give you, whether male or female, your hair when you were 16 years old. When I was 16 years old, my hair was a one-loop ponytail. It's still pretty good hair, but it's not my 16-year-old hair. So if someone tells you that, it's setting the expectations, being honest, but we can help you, and there's a lot we can do, because think about it, your hair, when you have a good hair day, you just feel better. You do, I do at least, so definitely we can help you.
You know, I'm so glad you said the thing about biotin, because I was taking biotin, a biotin vitamin, and got my blood work. There's my husband back there, and my liver enzymes. I mean, I had to have the liver fibrosis test. I had to have a liver ultrasound. There was nothing on these, but my liver enzymes were high. Quit taking that, my liver enzymes are back to normal.
I will say one thing, though. On most commercially available products right now, there is some component of biotin for hair and nail vitamins. You can't. So if you're going to go get your blood work, wait about 10 days. I myself went to go get my thyroid panels, and I forgot that I was taking something, and the labs were wonky, and I said, oh, I forgot. And so then I told the doctor, I was like, oh, gosh, I'm on this, so can I come back? She's like, okay, fine. But no one tells you this. If I didn't know, no one tells you. So again, it's not going to harm you in any way per se, like it's not going to make your hair fall out, but it's not helping you. If it's in one of your vitamins, just stop at least maybe even 14 days before you go to get your blood work.
And I just want to remind you also with Womaness, there's a vitamin C serum in your gift bag. So make sure to check that out as well. The front, when you open up not the program, but the booklet, you will see emails and websites.
I don't think you guys put Instagram, so I have to say I actually communicate better on there than in email. It's at Houshmand MD, like my long last name.
So
And you have a pen there. So
you have your
can write it
hot
down.
flashes and cool topics pen, so
There
you can
you go.
write that down.
So, if you have questions, obviously this is being live streamed and it's also being taped. We will have it up on our YouTube channel, Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. So if you have questions, you can watch that again. But use the emails. You can always email us and we can connect you with someone who can help, because obviously Bridget and I are not the experts, but we talk to the experts. So we are happy to give you the connections. Just email us. Follow up. If there's something that's resonated with you here, follow up on it. Don't just write it down and forget about it, because it's your health and it's important. So we would like to thank Sally, Dr. Somi, and Dr. Houshmand for coming today and talking about menopause and all its gifts.
Thank you.
And also, guys, Sunita Skincare is out there if we're going to talk about skincare, and Vichy is out there as well, and Johanna can answer any of your questions on that. So we will see you guys in about 15 minutes.